I see y'all coming in. Yo! Dog ass lad, I see you in the building, baby. Ambassador, welcome. We're gonna vibe a little bit. This CoolieBabii talking about them gifts. Boy, Pop's got something for y'all tonight. I see you, I see you. Let's set the atmosphere. Little ethos, cozy lifestyle in the building. Ambassador _ Emperor _ Ox. My brother in Christ, I see you.
I know, there's times that I don't see the gift and I just sit in it.
You know, in everything that you do, you ought to set the tone, set the atmosphere. When you go into the room and it's hot, you turn the thermostat up, down so they can cool off. If it's cold, you turn it up so it can heat up. We just set an ethos. The atmosphere.
In my mind and my heart that I don't know which way to
talk to him, CoolieBabii.
What thing to do, what thing to say, what thing to be. Like, who is me? And one thing I just can't get with the fact that I have multiple hats and I don't know which one to wear, which one to put on. And which one to take off.
Cozy, you could relate to that. Multiple Lord, hats.
I know you're here and I know you're showing me the way and helping me. But Father, I can't do this on my own.
Need a little help?
I can't do this on my own. All I know is I need you right now.
No man is an island. Everybody needs somebody.
You see my ups and downs, you see my smiles, my frowns. You see what I go through, that's why I hold my crown. I gotta hold my crown. I gotta hold my crown. I need you to help me, and I know you're helping me.
Nothing wrong with asking for help.
I can feel your presence.
Yes, sir.
One thing I know, you did not give me gifts to push aside, because you gave me them so we can ride this wave. You see me? You bless me with these gifts.
Yes, sir.
I'm not trying to lose it. I know I've been so still and sitting in it. Boy, you know I'm going through it. You say there's no excuse, just do it. All I know is I need you right now.
Sing, Coolie.
Need you right now. I need you, God.
We just vibe and give people a little chance to get in.
Take these gifts and
You might be rushing like I was.
to your will.
Yes, Lord.
What do you know about...
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, I do not own the rights to this music, but nevertheless, here we go.
A good evening. Do not attempt to adjust your radio.
There is nothing wrong.
We have taken control as to bring you this special show.
Rakeem, holla at him.
Turn it to you as soon as you are grooving.
One more again.
It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a strong rhyme to step to.
Think of how many week shows you slept through. Time's up. I'm sorry I kept you. Hey, what's going on, y'all? This Pops. I just wanted to pop
in real quick. Hey, play our words, Pops from Pops Gems. You know, coming up, we got Pops Perspective.
Let us tell you what it is, tell you what it ain't. Giving you the real, we'll never do the fake. Life is a gift, but sometimes we need guidance. Pops Perspective, always perfect timing. Call that alignment. Yeah, he gon' drop them gems.
Pops Gems.
You know he really him. It's something about his confidence that let you know he hadn't seen.
You don't want to miss. Don't meet me there, beat me there. Pops Perspective, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
And hello, once again, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes, as they used to say back in the day. You are tuned in to none other than Pops Gems. This is Pops Perspective. I'm your boy Pops, and I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much. Thought it not robbery to tune in. That theme song that you heard playing, shout out to Jay Reynolds. That was all her. Jay Reynolds, a little ad lib she took from one of my intros, but she made a beautiful intro for Pops Gems and Pops Perspective. So we definitely want to say thank you to her and keep her lifted up, as she has a lot of projects on the horizon. We're going to have to get her back on the show if we can get her. I mean, we got to check the calendar and see if she's available, because she is in high demand, as she should be. And you know, as we do every week, let me pause before we get any further and give thanks to God, who truly is the head of my life, who without him, none of this would be possible. And so we definitely want to send a shout out to God. Also, we thank you, with the following people. Of course, my exotic pops, you see it here. Let me get my cup right. Shout out to Exotic Pops, Lefty, and that's LEFTYYY_global. And you can find your exotic pops at Poppin' Snacks, 4119 South Orange Trail Boulevard, South Orange Blossom Trail is what I meant to say, in Orlando, Florida. Or if you're out in Mount Dora, stop by Tashanti at 4400 County Road 19A, Suite 8A, and that's in Mount Dora, Florida. Now, I don't know if y'all can see this right here, this Peace to the World, and this P, the P is for panic. Of course, you know, Pops got on the Kango. We got to represent Brooklyn, New York, the Kango capital of the world. But I got to shout out my son, Isaiah. I'm sorry. Isaiah must be talking about me. Got to shout out my son, All Seasons, for CTP, Create the Panic. Jay Iris just jumped in the chat. You got to go to www.allseaonz.shop. This man has a whole bunch of stuff that he's just doing. He is expanding his horizons. We got pins, we got hats, we got shirts, he got bubble jackets, he got t-shirts, he got shorts. He'll even put his logo on your dreams if you let him. But we definitely want to send a shout out to him, a great supporter. And I'm not just saying that because he's my son. He supports me. He advises me. Like I said, no man is an island. You never get to the point where you can't take any advice. But he's always there in my corner. And I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to say it again towards the middle of the show. If I don't, somebody remind me. What would y'all think about a Pops Gems pin? Put it in the comment. If you want it, give me a heart. Pop's already made up his mind, so your opinion is not going to sway me either way. I've already made the decision I want to do, but coming up, we definitely got some things on the horizon. Just some memorandum, just some memorabilia from Pops. A special send out to you. And, of course, you know, Pops loves to give away things, so stay tuned for that, and that's on the horizon. As I mentioned, Jay Iris, my son, my other son, he is on media platforms everywhere. You can find him at JA1RUS, and go follow him and subscribe to him, and he has some great music. You hear me playing it sometimes on the show, and, of course, I'm always going to promote them. Pops Gem Pin on the way. That's right, it's on the way. Lakai Holmes, and now let me tell y'all something. Y'all slept on the first one, and that was Perspective Candle. They all gone, but Lakai Holmes, LAKAI.Holmes, has a host of candles. They are very, very, it's aromatherapy. If you like things to smell good, if you want keep your house fresh, Pops is coming out with another candle a little later on called Pops Gems, and just stay on the brink for that. Randy, I see you, and so stay tuned for that, and then of course I want to send a special shout out to all of you. And you thought it not robbery. You took time. Let me take these off. You took time to tune in to Pop Show, and so I really thank you. I appreciate that. You know, and I'm not saying this from a braggadocious state of mind. I'm saying this because it's just the fact. I put a lot into the show. I care a lot about the show. I want to bring y'all rich and exciting information and topics that can really change your life and give you something to think about. Remember, we're either going to motivate, confirm, or we're either going to motivate, give you information, confirmation, or motivation is the three things that we're going to do. So we definitely want you to stay tuned in. If you don't like what I say on the show, tune in next week. I'll say something else. Miss Tay Music in the house. I see you. So glad to have you in here. This lady is gifted in song, and we're going to bring her on the show one day. Pop got so much, you got to check the calendar to see if you can get on the show. And I'm not saying that, saying it's all that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of people out there that go unnoticed. And so we use this platform to reach out to those people and get them on the show and let them express whatever talent they is. As you heard in the intro was CoolieBabii, good friend of mine. I've adopted her as a daughter. Lady, I see you. I've adopted her as a daughter. Boy, Pop's got more and more. Pop's got more and more kids, and I'm not. Listen, they just coming in. I feel like sometimes you meet somebody and you click right away. And so I met this young lady. They call her CoolieBabii. She's very, very gifted. She is a very led by God, very anointed individual. She has a show, Saturday morning Bible study, which will bless your heart. And for those of you that need some spiritual guidance, it's definitely there. So you want to tune in, and I'm gonna bring her on later. And she'll be able to give you that information. Okay, but nevertheless, thank you, CoolieBabii, for that. And then Ipinkie. Of course, if you need your hair twisted, you need your hair done, you can see Ipinkie, and she got the best hands in town. If you've ever seen Seasons looking around with his hair done, then you know who did it. All right, so she'll be on the show a little bit later on, too. We're just waiting for them to get in. And then, of course, before we go any further, I have to do Am I My Brother's Keeper? And the reason, let me slow down a little bit, because today was a big rush day. Today was my first day. It started a new job about a month ago, but it was the first day out on the floor, and they changed the schedule from my getting off at 5:30. Now I get off at 7, and I'm rushing home. I'm trying to get it. So Pops may have to push back the show just a little bit, but trust me when I tell you, if it's not right at 8 o'clock, it'll be close to, or somebody will come on and let you know, God forbid, in the event that Pops cannot do the show. But nevertheless, we're here. And so I want to do this. The Lord put it on my heart to be, hey, Ipinkie in the building. Ipinkie surgery. I love to have fun. It's been a long day. I need to unwind a little bit. But the Lord put it on my heart, and I thought about, am I my brother's keeper? And, a lot of times we say we got your back. We say that's my homeboy, that's my homegirl, that's my ride or die. And, do you ever stop and just lift them up? Do you ever just take a second to pray that they have a good day? Because you're held accountable for that. If you say you got somebody's back, if you say you in somebody's corner, well, then it's just imperative that you support them, or else you're in a toxic relationship. Oops, that's the topic for tonight. But so I want to take this moment. I want everybody to focus on just one person that needs a touch, that needs a blessing. And you, even if it's yourself, you just put it in your mind, and for 10 seconds, like we do every week, I just want you to send positive vibes their way. I want you to send blessings that will uplift them, build them up where they're torn down, strengthen them where they may be weak. So if you will think of that person, you got them? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and let it be done. And I don't know, for those of you who noticed that Pops is talking more spiritual, again, God is the head of my life, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not ashamed to claim it. And I think I got a little bit of word in me that I can help some people out along the way. But nevertheless, if it had not been for the Lord on my side, okay, I wouldn't be here. I don't know if you could notice or not, but the devil's trying to mess with my face, give me, a tooth, got swollen. But you know what? I rebuked that. That's just the devil trying to stop me, because you're not supposed to look at me anyway. You're supposed to listen to the message. That's where people get hemmed up. But again, thank you so much for everybody tuning in. We got a great show last week. Last week, we talked about some great things. I had Millie on, who was on the show. And then I had my childhood friend. Yes, Pops had a friend way back when. My good friend Juan Denmark was on the show. And they gave a male perspective on toxicity, I think that is. I wish Millian was here so he can correct me, because he says it right. I don't. Should have recorded that little clip. But nevertheless, there's a lot of relationships, and I'm not just limiting to intimate relationships. I'm talking about platonic relationships as well. I'm talking about work relationships, because what you have to understand is, when there's toxic elements in anything, it's just a matter of time before it spreads like a cancer. So you have to nip it in the bud. But the first thing is you have to be able to recognize what's toxic. And there's a lot of patterns. I'm gonna need my eyes again. For example, and I'm gonna bring in. I have two young ladies that are gonna come in, and they're gonna give. One of them is gonna give a testimony on how she endured a toxic relationship for some time, and now she's been liberated. She's been set free. But in the meantime, I wanna talk about, just before we get into that, like I said, it's not limited to romantic relationships, but it's also deals with friendship. And a lot of people say they're your friend. My mother used to tell me, friends a dime a dozen. If you got a dime, you got a dozen friends, because you have to, in every relationship, be it friendship, be it romantic, even be it business, you have to test that. You have to test that and see if it will withstand the test of being a true friend. For example, if you feel that you have a friendship, Yellow in the building, and you feel that it may be toxic, one of the ways that you can know is if you have to force that friendship. For example, it's one-sided. One person has a lack of effort. They're always making excuses for not spending time. They never initiate contact. And then that may be a sign of a forced relationship. If you got to chase people down, I said it back in 2023 and carried the motto into 2024. I'm not chasing people. And I'm not chasing money, because I'm going to do what the Lord say, and the blessings will overtake me. Money going to follow me. The signs and wonders going to follow me. And I'm not going to beg people to be my friend. If you want to be in my life and you show effort, I'll match that effort. I'm going to give you a couple times, but listen, I ain't got this. I got too much to do to be chasing people that don't. If you don't want to be a part of Pops, hey, no problem, no love lost. May the Lord bless you. You take your road, I take my road. Abraham and Lot is a story about they came to a place where they needed to separate. And Abraham told his nephew Lot, okay, well, you go that way and I'm gonna go that way. And there was no love lost. So if you're in something and you feel like you gotta always initiate the call, you gotta always initiate the friendship. You're always the one making the suggestions to do things, and then you call 6 and 7 times. I'm not talking about you, Pinky. We know you're busy doing here, but you call 6 and 7 times and they don't answer the phone, and you feel like you're putting more effort into chasing behind them, then maybe you need to check that, because you need to hold the self-esteem. See, that's where your self-esteem says that you're worthy. You're a good friend, and you're worthy of reciprocation. So whatever you put in, you expect to get out. And if the tree's not bearing any fruit, I'm just saying. So check your relationships, your friendships, and you'll know. And the people that are truly friends of mine, they know. C.J. I see you. The people that are friends of mine that know that if I got a sandwich, you got half a sandwich. If I got a glass of water, you got half a glass of water. If I got a bed to sleep in, listen, we'll put the mattress on the floor and make it do what it do. And that's just the type of person that I am. And there's people that can testify to that. I don't have to brag about it. My work speaks for myself. I consider myself a good friend. And so, family, I see you. Yeah, the whole family's in the building. So without further ado, what I want to do is I want to get this moving. How can you test a friend? That's a good question. Let me answer that before I bring some people in here. Consider how your friend handles your secrets. If you cannot have confidentiality in an individual, then maybe you need to check that friendship. Because you should be able to go to your friend and say, listen, I need to share something with you, and I appreciate it if you don't share it with nobody else. And that's where it should remain. You should take it to the grave, as they say. But you got some people here that are busybodies. And boy, look at here. You tell them one thing, and before you can finish, they done told somebody else. But what happens is this. It's just like the game that we used to play in school, where they had everybody sitting in a semicircle, and the first person would whisper something to the first person's ear. And they would whisper it all the way down the line. But by the time they got to the end, it was a whole different message. And that's what happens with talebearers. People want to add to it. You know what I'm saying? When I cook, you don't need any salt. You don't need any hot sauce. It's seasoned. And you start adding stuff to it, you alter the taste. So when you start adding the stuff, you alter the significance of what was being said. And if that person came to you and felt enough to confide in you, you ought to honor that. If not, check your toxic level. Could be rising. All right. With that said, I want to see what we got in here. I want to bring in, Ipinkie. And let me see. I'll send y'all invites. Accept the invite so I can bring y'all in. Pops is working with this thing here. Okay. All right. There she is. That's my daughter, y'all. Hey, look, I got fresh hollow points. Don't play. Don't even think about it. And then Ipinkie. We can only see the top of your head.
I know, hold on.
I'm going to mess with you. All right. So, for those of you that are coming in, God bless you. Thank you so much. Scooby, Austin, producer, I see you. All right. So, I brought in these ladies, and you've seen them before. And I have a lot of people on the show that are repeaters, but each and every time we discuss different subjects. So what I want to do is I want to open up the floor and let CoolieBabii give her testimony, give her story of how she was in a toxic relationship and how she was delivered from that. So without further ado, I want to introduce the some, present the others. That voice you heard playing in the beginning of the show, none other than my newfound daughter. Wait, I can't say too much because she's, she a crybaby. She gonna start crying. So give her a minute, get some tissue. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Hold on. How they do that? We don't want to run your mascara, so you know how y'all be doing that little. That. Okay.
I ain't got no
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, receive my friend, my sister in Christ, my daughter in Christ, Miss CoolieBabii. Talk to the people. Turn your mic on.
Wagwan, beautiful souls.
Oh, that's me. Okay. Try it now. We can hear you now.
Can you guys hear me? Aye, bless up beautiful souls in this work. I done know the thing already. CoolieBabii there. Listen, it's such an honor. Pops, it's always an honor to be here. So I give God thanks and I give you thanks. But let's just jump right on in this thing, okay? We're talking about toxic relationships. All right, and I'm gonna keep it sweet and short so we can keep the show going. But I was actually in a toxic marriage. I was actually in a toxic covenant, right? And I tried my very best to make it untoxic, but when something toxic, it's just toxic, y'all. When it's toxic, it's just toxic. And so we have to be able to see the flag, see the sign. I saw all the red signs, black flags, red flags, orange flags. They was the Skittles, okay? Taste the rainbow. But I have always been the type of person that I like to give the benefit of the doubt to people. And I also, when I see potential in people, like I latch on to that potential, despite what they showing me. They could be showing me, listen, this is who I am. Listen, they could be telling me bluntly, showing me, but as long as I see that potential, I'm like, oh, but you can be this, but you can be better, but you can. And so I latch on to that, and that is where I went wrong. Now, I've grown. God has dealt with me. God delivered me, and all of that. So I really don't, move in that way anymore. Before I do anything, I'm like, Lord, what we doing? What we doing? And if you don't know, I am a woman of faith, so that is first and foremost. But while I was in that marriage, we were together for 4 years, married for 2. And I would never talk bad about him, y'all. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm just here to share my testimony in hopes and faith that it will help somebody, right? He is a good person. And just because someone is a good person don't mean that they're your good person. And that's one thing that's the biggest lesson that I had to learn. But in that toxic relationship, I was just like trying to make something work that would never work. And ladies, come on now, drop it in the comments if you know exactly what I'm talking about. Say Coolie out here. Yep. Okay, we always try to make something work because we see the potential in it. We see the foresight of what it could be, how fruitful it could be, how abundant it could be, right? We see that. So in seeing that, we stick it out, we stay it out, and don't let kids be involved. Don't let, oh my goodness, don't let, you know what I mean? So it's like, ladies. And I know Pinky. I know Pinky can definitely resonate and relate right now because low key, and I know she's gonna tell her story, but low key, I don't know how God did this, but we literally be going through almost the same thing. We be going through the same things at the same time. But y'all, let me tell you one thing.
We godly twins.
I never believed in divorce. I know that divorce is not what pleases God, right? And we all know that. If you don't know, now you know. However, let me tell y'all something. Not every marriage that you see out here is blessed by God. That's one thing that I learned. I'm thinking like, oh, as long as you marry, oh, that God is a covenant. He created that. So if anybody marry, oh yeah, God has blessed it. No. A lot of us move on our own understanding that we marry into with someone that was never supposed to be with us in the first place. That was not part of God's will. Either lust, yeah, we think we in love, but majority of the times it's lust. And let me tell you about that spirit of lust. That spirit will grab you up and just chew you up and spit you out and eat you back up again and spit you out again, and you know what I mean? So y'all, but you know what? Look at me. I'm here. And you know what, y'all? I'm happily
She said she
divorced.
happily divorced.
I finished
Coolie,
my
how long were
sport.
you married? How long were you
And then
married?
look, I was
Four,
married
ye-
for 4
4
years. We were together
years.
2 years. I was married for
It's a
4.
long time.
Mhm.
365 times 4.
And
That's
y'all,
4 years.
honestly, y'all, I saw all the flags
Okay.
year 1. That means before we even got married. And so I was saying that God doesn't bless every marriage. So being that my marriage was one of them that was not blessed by God, what happened was when I went into the covenant of marriage, which God created, his light started to shine on that and the darkness started to rise. The darkness started to rise because I entered in what was supposed to be sacred. So that light shined on everything that was not of God. And all
I love how you
hell
put
broke
that, girl.
loose.
I love
All
how
hell
you put
broke.
that.
Girl, that was
Yeah,
Holy Spirit.
Holy
Thank you,
Spirit be
Holy
coming
Spirit.
through with the words.
All
I'm
hell
telling you,
broke loose.
you put that. Wow.
Let me jump in here real quick.
Jump in,
Um,
because
it
wow.
says here, do you believe if you marry someone that isn't devoted to God, can God and will change their heart with prayer and fasting? Now, the biblical portion of it, the problem is, and CoolieBabii kind of hit it on the head. The problem is we want to get married for sake of being married. We want to put a ring on it. We don't want to keep doing what we consider living in sin and shacking up. And so we think, oh, let's jump and get married. But when you get married under the wrong pretenses, you understand, you got to pray to God and say, because marriage is forever. And when you join yourself with somebody, and we'll have to do a show on this, there's you can, first and foremost, you have to sit down with God on your own and cleanse yourself of all the spirits that have been ascertained and have been joined in with you, and then your significant other. Now, if that doesn't happen prior to, then what you're doing is you're connecting yourselves to a lot of demonic spirits. And so what you need to do is first and foremost take a introspective look, and if you want God to bless your marriage and you want your God to bless your marriage partner, the Bible says that if the unbeliever chooses to stay, let him stay, because the believer is covered by the believer. But if he chooses to go, let him go. But as a follower, you have to follow God first. And if your spouse is not following God, then you lift them before the altar, that God will change their heart, and then you would have that perfect union, or that union in Christ. And if not, God will give you revelation, um, and give you a revelation on what to do and guidance on what to do. So,
Yep.
my biggest
Yes.
message to anyone is, don't just jump into marriage because you want to, I hear a lot of people say, oh, I want to make an honest woman out of her. But you want to do it in a godly, I'll say it this way: if you want God's blessing on your marriage, then you seek him first and be prepared for whatever answer, because who you think is your soulmate may not be
Might
your
not be.
soulmate. Just because she cooked, just because she clean, or she got
Wow.
them curves, or she look good now, or he look man,
Wow.
he's tall, dark, and handsome, or whatever it is. Flesh is going to decay, and once the newness wears off, if there's no foundation, I'm just talking, but if there's no foundation, you're going to lose. It's going to be like building a house in quicksand, or like in Florida, building it on the swampland. So you really have to count up the cost and see if, first of all, what is, there's steps to it. Why do you want to marry that person? What do you look to gain out of that person? How is that person going to help you along your Christian journey, if that's the journey you decide to take? If you want certain results, you have to do certain actions. And like I said, a lot of people just jump into a relationship and they're like, oh no, the sex is wonderful. We grown, we can talk. The sex is wonderful. But after a while,
Come on.
okay, after a while, that's not going to hold you. Oh, he got a lot of money, but if you don't maintain that, because whatever you do to get her or him is what you got to do to keep her or him. It's a constant evolving. It's two people cohabitating together, learning how to live with one another. And you have to keep it vibrant. You have to keep it interesting. You have to push one another because you both have to have a common goal where you want your marriage to go to. If you want to bring in children, you have to consider, can you afford children? Do you have a place for children? Are you mentally ready for children? Some of us are not mentally ready for a relationship. We can't take care of ourselves, but we want to jump into a relationship with somebody else. And then you find yourself, you look up and you find yourself, quote unquote, stuck. And the first thing you want to do is holler, divorce, divorce, divorce. Well, sometimes it's not that easy. Okay, you plant some bad seeds, those seeds got to grow, and you got to cultivate that garden, and then you got to replant some good seeds. And I'm not saying that you throw away everybody, because ultimately when you pray and ask God, he can fix any situation. But like I said, if it wasn't meant for you to be, if it wasn't meant to be, he's going to let you know. And then, as CoolieBabii said, she's separated, she's divorced, and she's happy divorced. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they got a good relationship where they can still get along. And that's what you call a healthy relationship. But again, you just have to be careful of what you get into, because it's not as easily getting out. And if you just in there because she thick, or you just in there because she paid you a couple compliments, you really got to check yourself. I don't want nobody to love me for what I am. I want them to love me for who I am, if that makes any sense. So CoolieBabii endured 4 years. Now, tell us about your exodus. How did you get out of that?
Whew. Well, I did a lot of praying, a lot of fasting, and let me tell you this: just because I did pray and fast, like the answer wasn't just boom like that. God had me in a waiting period, a waiting season. Okay, and let me tell you, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. And let me tell you how the waiting season could, listen,
Wow.
4 years. 4 years. The waiting season can be long, but God needs you. God knows what he's doing now. He needs you to get and grasp what he needs you to get and grasp, because he's not going to take you out of something if he knows you're not completely ready to get out of that
Strategic.
thing. So I wasn't completely ready at some points, because again, me, the type of person I was trying to latch on to the potential that I saw in him. However, God was showing me things in the last year, and then so many things happened. God put me on a 40-day fast. I didn't know why. I'm like, Abba, why why am I on a 40-day fast? But so many things happened. Turn my phone down. So many things happened, and one of those things, y'all, was a life tragedy for me. The only person I knew from the moment I was born till 2 years ago left this earth suddenly. That's my mom. Suddenly, she left this earth. My two little sisters found her. I was on FaceTime with them, so I feel like I found her with them. And that was just that. And this was right after I came off the 40-day fast, y'all. So that literally changed the trajectory of where my life was, of where me and God relationship was, of where my marriage was. It just changed everything 360, I'm telling you. And I started to get into the presence of God, and things started to be more clear. Things started to rise up in clarity. I was able to see and hear clearly. And of course, y'all, we fight this flesh every day, right? Your spirit and your flesh is at war, okay? Is at war every day. So even though I was like gaining clarity and seeing things for what they were, hearing things for what they were, and everything, my flesh was still like, but no, you could still So I still remain. But with my mom passing, you know how when you go through certain things, like life-changing things, that can literally show you who a person really is. Like if you broke, you really gonna know who your friends, right? When you got it, everybody like rocking with you. Oh yeah.
Say
Soon as you don't
it for the
got it
people in the
like
back.
that,
They didn't
you
hear
start to see who's for real. Okay. You start to see who's real, who's for real. When you start to have real life situations and circumstances happen, You start to see people for who they are. And so that's what was happening, y'all. And God saw that. Let me tell y'all something really quick. I got married because I wanted to please God. I knew I wasn't living right. I knew we were living together already. So I'm like, oh, I was convicted. My spirit was vexed up. I was just convicted. I'm like, Lord, I just want to please you. You know what? You said it's better to marry than to burn. And so we went and we did what we did, right? And so that's why I got married. Now, I didn't leave when things showed me that this is not for you. I didn't leave because I wanted to please God. I know God, doesn't like divorce and all these things. So I'm like, I'm going to work it out. I'm going to work it out. And when you hear from Pinkie, you're going to hear from Pinkie that if it wasn't for me, Pinkie would have been left. But I was telling her, Pinkie, we got to work it out. We got to work it out. We got to work it out.
I was
And I
trying
was
to
just
exit
toiling, y'all, in
early.
something that I was toiling in something that just would never. And sis, Kerrigan, you asked a good question, like, well, what if, you said, what if you find Jesus after marriage? Let me tell you something. After I got married, I decided that I was gonna be for real with Christ. I mean, I served Christ all my life, but it's it's that moment where you got a heart for God, but you ain't really like living like it. Like you just, oh, I love God, but you're not really living like it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm gonna give my life to Christ for real. And so when I did that, I started to transform. Because when I met my husband, we went to school for production and recording arts, music and show production. When I met him, I was in the world. I was still dabbing in the world too, right? We both was in the world, in darkness. But then when I start to transform, y'all, and I used to tell him this all the time, I'd be like, you are the person who has front row seats to my transformation, and you telling me that you just want to be content and stagnant right where you at? You don't want to transform with me? You don't want to, like, he saw me go from darkness to light, y'all. But he chose to remain there. You understand? So it got to a point where I was seeking God. I was crying myself to sleep at night. I couldn't sleep at night. I was just very, very like troubled in my spirit. But God said, I need you to stop focusing on him and focus on me, and we about to self-develop. So the last year and a half, I was self-developing. I didn't care what he was doing. I used to beg him to go on dates. We never went on a date, y'all. I used to beg my husband. I have a calendar that I used to write my because I have a business and stuff, so I have to write on the calendar in order to make sure I get stuff done. So I used to put on, I'd be like, on Fridays, date night, X, Y, and Z. Y'all, never,
Toxic.
ever, ever, ever. The
Toxic.
PS5 was his wife. The PS4 and 5 was his wife. You understand? I couldn't compete with that. So it got to a point where on Fridays, I'm getting cute and stuff, and I'm leaving the house by myself. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm just going. And I was so hurt. Can you, ladies, come on. I know you feeling what I'm saying right now. Can you imagine how I was feeling? And I could tell y'all stories for days, but can you imagine like how my heart was? And I'm not the type to cheat, y'all. I tried to cheat years ago. That's just not in me. It's not in me. Like, I'm not a cheater, so I'm not gonna go out there and just because I'm not getting it at home. But it will put you in a place of depression. Now you married. Now I ain't talking about no boyfriend and girlfriend. You could walk away from a boyfriend just like this and then act like you never knew that person. A marriage is different. A covenant is different. You understand? So, it got to a place where God saw that he saw I was just so hard-headed and struck on, oh, I don't want to fail you guys. I'm saying this marriage, even though he showed me, just like Pop said, you will get revelation. If you pray and ask for it, God will give you revelation. And sometimes God will tell you something that nobody else going to understand around you. Nobody else, everybody around me was like putting me down and saying, how could you? And that, but they didn't know what I was going through, and they didn't know the revelation God been showing me. Right? So it was that's another hard thing I had to go through, trying to tune them out, because the enemy tried to use them to condemn me, make me feel condemned, like I was, just doing the worst, and God would never forgive me, and I'm never going to be worthy of God's love no more, and all these things. So God saw that I was like, oh no, I gotta stay, I gotta make it work. And guess what, y'all? Things started to escalate. things started to escalate. And I just couldn't understand. I'm like, I'm trying to make it work. I'm trying to do it with good intentions, a good heart posture, all the things, and it's escalating. Y'all got to a point where, listen, as y'all can see, I'm very transparent, bold, blunt, real. I'm gonna tell it like it is, okay? I'm not sugarcoating nothing. And we grown, like Pop said. So rated R. Okay. It got to a point where it became.
Let me jump in here and say this, because and by no means do I discredit anybody for their beliefs. You know, I can't force you to believe anything that you don't want to believe. Everybody has their different beliefs, but there comes to a point that everybody can understand this. It's self-respect. If you do not do it for any other reason than your own self, you see, people only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. Until you take a stand and sit down with yourself and say, no, this is what I expect, and I'm not going to settle for anything less. And those of you that are going to get with it, fine. If you're not going to get with it, I'm moving up the highway, and I have my standards. Now you can either meet me and we go together, or it's what they say, lead, follow, or get out the way. Because if you're not going to be part of the solution, I'm not going to allow you to be part of the problem. And there's a lot of things, even dealing outside of marriage with just friendships. There's a lot of friendships that people don't understand why that individual don't associate with them no more, because they're at a higher level. They expect more for themselves. They're going into a different level for themselves that they're trying to reach. And if you're not in there helping them get there, then you have to cut off the weight. You have to see, a lot of us are carrying people. A lot of people are in our lives, we're carrying them when really we need to cut them off. You can't get off the ground and into the atmosphere of where you're going when you're carrying dead weight. And there's a lot of people that are dead weight. They only call you when they want something. They only need you when they need you. You know what I'm saying? They always have something to take from you. I'm not trying to get nothing from you. I'm trying to get something to you. Now, in me, I have certain standards. I'm single because I want to be. And the reason I say that is because I have yet to find the one that's going to be conducive in the movement that I'm going, in the goal where I see myself. And why would I attach myself to something that I'm going to have to drag along the way? I need somebody that's with a running mate. I need somebody that's going to be by my side. When, and this is biblical, but when God made the woman, he took the rib from the side. He didn't take the backbone. He didn't take the front bone. He didn't take it from the head. He didn't take from the feet. He took it from the side. I want my woman to be on the side of me as we press up toward our goals, and be that in marriage, be that in spirituality. So a lot of people that are in relationships, you have to first and foremost check yourself and say, am I putting up with this? Again, people only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So if you don't like something, speak up and cut it off. If they can't respect that about you, then maybe they don't need to be around you. And I'm not saying that it's all high solidity, but you got an obligation to yourself to protect your space. And you got to be careful who you let in your inner circle, because whoever you let in and give access to, if they're not worthy, then they're going to take that information and they're going to turn around and they're going to use it against you. And you hear things like, oh, I was there when you didn't have nobody. I was there when, if it wasn't for me, if it, this, that, and the other. And that's not the kind of friend I need. I don't need a friend that's going to put his foot on my neck when I'm down. I need a friend that's going to say, hey, listen, I know you did wrong, but we're going to get through this together. I'm going to lift you up. I got you. And too many times, because we want friends or we want status, we want to get on Instagram for likes. We want to get on Facebook for likes. We want to get on all these TikToks so people can watch our show. So we create a false sense of ourselves. We create a persona to attract people versus being ourselves, and let the people that are truly going to be around you resonate with you. Yeah, Lady Jasmine said it best. You got to protect your enemy. Not everybody's worthy of the energy that you have, but it's you the one that control the faucet. You the one that can turn it on or off. So when you open up that faucet and you allow people to come in and they see a part of you that you haven't exposed before, you got to be careful of that, because everybody that smiles in your face is not your friend. Everybody that pats you on the back is just, some people are just marking the X or where they know where to put the knife. And jealousy, animosity, and envy. I want my friends to say, hey, I'm glad you're doing this. Let me help you. Or how can I help you? Not, oh, you think you all of that. See, those are the signs that we overlook. But when you're doing something genuinely for yourself, you don't want people around you that are going to drag you down. Like I said, if you're not part of the solution, please don't be part of the problem. I've had to cut off people. And look, it ain't no family and friends alike. Because blood, I did a show said blood is thicker than water. No, blood coagulates. Blood, if you expose it too much, runs out. If it's cut too deep, you'll bleed to death. I don't deal. You can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends. Water flows. And when water flows, we brought it up, H2O. It has the elements help to overcome. Let me give you the acronym. H2O is help to overcome, not to drown you. I don't need nobody that's going to pull me down. I need somebody that's going to push me up. And then I not be so high-minded that I need to, once I get there, I need to pull them up. And together we're climbing out of the barrel instead of being pulled down into the barrel. And this is what people have to understand, that when you deal in any kind of relationship, if it's not conducive to your higher standards, then you need to check yourself. You might be on that job and it might be paying you all the money in the world, but if you have no peace of mind, check yourself. And I'm not saying, don't quit. I'm not saying go get a divorce. But what I'm saying is you have to think about you. You have to be selfish in that context. Because at the end of the day, you have to look in the mirror and brush the enemy's teeth. You have to look in the mirror and wash the enemy's face. Because if you are not being true to you, you're being your own enemy. I'm just talking. I could be wrong.
Oh my!
Ipinkie, talk to the people.
Stop beating people with the belt, man. Hey, put the belt down, Pops. Put it down. We know you, Pops. We know you are the problem. Put the belt down. Ouch! It hurts.
Say amen or ouch.
Oh my goodness! Ouch! All right. So welcome, people. My love you guys. My love you guys. You guys are so cute. I can't see y'all though, but y'all cute. Hold on. First of all,
You fading in and out.
I know. Let me put it on the charger because I just think he ain't got to. Listen, I just came off work. That's why y'all saw me moving around. I saw Mercy told me.
Pinky says she busy.
No, but I can't be too busy for my love. So that's why I'm gonna always make sure I be there. I was eating my salad on the side. I said,
listen, let me tell y'all something while she's getting ready. When we get off this live, whenever you get a chance, I want you to get a notepad and sit down and write 10 things that you like about yourself and 10 things that you hate about yourself. And really sit down and think about it. And then start increasing those 10 things that you don't like about yourself to make them things that you like about yourself. Because you have to prepare yourself. You are the product that you present to the world. Many performers rehearse until they get the performance down to where it's smooth. This is a constant daily thing. You have to constantly monitor yourself, because sometimes we do things and we don't know the ripple effect that it causes. And I'm talking about toxic people. Sometimes you'll affect somebody and they may not say nothing, but the ripple effect that, I can't stand to see one of my friends and true friends in being hurt. It hurts me. So the ripple effect of that toxic person, not only did it affect my friend, but it affected me. And it affected me to the point where I had to say something to my friend. So you really have to check yourself. Sometimes we put ourselves in our own predicament. Don't ask, why me, Lord, or why am I in this predicament? Ask, okay, what did I do to put myself here? Let me rewind the tape a little bit. What was I thinking about to put myself in this position? And now, because that's why you got to be careful for what you ask for. Some people say, oh, I want a husband, I want a wife, I want a husband, I want a wife. And they're not specific. And so you get one that's full of hell. You
Oh,
find her in the club,
Lord.
that's when she gonna stay in the club.
Oh,
I'm just talking,
Lord.
but don't get mad because that's you got what you asked for, but you weren't specific. You were not, and listen, you could be very detailed. I want him 6'2". He gotta have broad shoulders. He gotta like to do this. Be specific. Why? Because that's
Broad shoulders.
the person you're gonna be with for the rest of your life. Gentlemen, same thing. Don't just get caught up on them curves and them hips and the beautiful face and all of that. Don't get hooked up on that. Because after a while,
Don't
by and
start
by, we all gonna get a little older. Now, some of us retain beauty and things of that nature, but this is flesh. This is dirt. This flesh is dirt. You was made from dirt. You got to talk about the soul. I'd rather have I don't even want to say it that way. I'd rather have a
Don't say that
beautiful
way,
soul
Pops.
than anything else. I'm not gonna get in trouble. I'd rather have a beautiful soul than anything else. So, when you get into a lot of these situations, don't look to blame somebody else. The growth, the maturity is when you say, okay, what did I do how did I get to this place? What did I do? Where did I take a wrong turn? I know Ipinkie Coolie left, so that's
I
my crew.
know. God bless her. What
Come
she's
on, come
doing.
on and talk to the people.
Look out for her. She might be trying to come back in.
She
I'm just kidding.
probably
But
started crying and clapping and shouting and dropped the phone. Ain't
Pops,
no
leave my
telling.
sister alone and stop it. So how? Okay, I'm gonna introduce myself again. I'm Ipinkie. You guys, make sure you tuned in to thepink.world.com. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where all my products, all the love that I be. I'm just trying to spread love, and I'm spreading it to my business. I'm spreading it to my hands, and I do here. If you're in Orlando or wherever you at, I travel in states. We're gonna talk more about that in a little bit. But yes, Pop, our topic is about toxicity, isn't it? What is your question to me? Is it about my marriage, my ex-marriage?
Yeah, Cooley said that y'all were married at the same time, and you was going
Yeah.
through a situation. Same time she was going through a situation, and you hung in there based on what you seen through Cooley. So let me say this, and this is like they say, it's a hard truth. Cooley, you went through what you went through so that Pinky wouldn't go through what she went through, and nothing to do with you. Your testimony was to help somebody else, and a lot of times we go through things not for us, but so that we can help somebody
I
else.
was
When
trying to run, and
you
Cooley,
say,
and I should have been left, and I was ready to go, but Cooley wanted to say, "Sis, we sitting in the car, y'all. I remember crying in the rain, and we sitting there. And she just like, but God doesn't like divorce, and I'm just sitting there, man. I'm like, she don't stop saying that. You're like, she don't stop saying that, because then I'm getting convicted. So I'm like, all right, so okay, God, I'm gonna hang on for a little bit. But then this is where I was messing up, y'all, because you're supposed to still be who you are. So I started to turn the wife off. I still couldn't. I should have continued being the wife who I was supposed to be and whatever. But what I started to do is, oh, you want to act like that? Okay, I ain't cooking. Oh, I ain't text you.
mm,
Oh, you better not sit next to me because who you know how I am. Please don't touch me. Like, don't sit next to me. What are you doing? You hugging who? What? Like, I started to do that. Like, I started to be the total opposite, and I started to get a little mean. And y'all, that was not right, but I did it. And God convicted me, but that's my story right there. That's not the full story, but that's just a little bit of my story compared to Cooley. She was telling me to go, and she was telling me to stay, and I was trying to go, but
oh,
y'all stayed.
okay. And how long were you married?
I was married for 3 years.
Okay.
I really was married for 6 months because after 6 months, I told him to leave and he went back to New York, and I've been thugging it out since. The divorce just didn't happen fast enough because, as Cooley told y'all, my mom passed away. So I put it on pause. And y'all, he just decided to not even try to like support, like put everything to the side and try to support me during that grieving time. He didn't come. He even told his peoples, y'all, I'm not talking bad about him. I'm telling you the
Right.
truth. He told his peoples not to hit me up because of what we had going on. So when that all of that was happening, that's when I started to realize, yes, this divorce. I don't care what Cooley's talking about anymore. It's done. Like, I started to go online. I started filing the papers, y'all, but I just couldn't complete it. But I ended up completing it in Jesus' name. But yeah, I was only married for 6 months. I really wanted to say, but it was like 3 years.
And now, and, and it's, I say it's funny for the cliche term of it's funny, but if you was to ask CoolieBabii or Ipinkie who they're married to, they quick to tell you
Look at my finger.
Jesus.
I'm married to God,
They
and
quick to
I
tell
just
you
gave it.
Jesus.
We just renounced. Renounced our vows or whatever because I kind of backslid, y'all. Y'all know I'm all about telling my truth. I backslid. 'Cause what? I'm about fasting right now, y'all. Y'all want to join me? I'm being real, y'all.
The
I'm this
the
type of
beau-
person. I'm very goofy, but I'm being serious, y'all. Stop playing me.
the beautiful thing about life is that it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many
Oh,
times you get back up.
don't say
Don't let me start
and
yeah.
singing.
and you cannot allow the vicissitudes of life, you cannot allow the pressures of life to beat you down to the point that you just give up, because you're not giving up on nobody but yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying this for sake of just saying it, but each and every one of us has a purpose. Each and every one of us was not only has a purpose, but you were fearfully and wonderfully made. There is no one else like you in the world. That you may run into people with similarities
Mm-hmm.
that you can have a common ground with, but each one of us is a unique individual. And excuse me, each one of us deserves, it's a right to be happy while we're going through. And that's not saying that you're not going to have ups and downs. I know
Right.
relationships that, they may fall out a million times, but they get back on track a million times. Like I told you, it's two people habitating together, learning how to live with one
But it's
another
gotta be
as they
the
strive to
truth.
be a couple. And you have to, sometimes you learn to overlook certain things for the sake of it. So he don't put the toilet seat down all the time. That's okay. Just keep reminding him. You'll catch it after a while. Repetition is the best teacher. But is a toilet seat lifted up with you having a falling out about? Now, if you make that point and he directly disrespects that, then you got to keep going at it, because again, Rome wasn't built in a day. You didn't learn what you knew in a day. You didn't become who you became in a day,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I stress over and over: know yourself. Know yourself. And then that way, when you meet somebody, you could start seeing, okay, is this going to be conducive? Is this going to work? A lot of us are oil and we try to mix with water. Oil and water don't mix.
Mm-mm.
But because the water is clear and blue, we want to try to jump in there and it don't mix. So, you have to, uh, in order to live a healthy lifestyle, and when I say healthy, not only do I mean physically, but mentally, your mental health, it depends on what you allow into your life. And if you stay around, listen, you play in the mud long enough, you're going to get dirty. Okay. And they say birds of a feather flock together. Now, in this marriage situation that we had here with Coolie and with Ipinkie, Coolie said, I mean, Ipinkie said she shut down, she stopped being a wife. But let me say this: you have to continue to hold up your end of the bargain. You have to continue to hold up what you're supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
because how can you expect for an individual to get on board when you throw yourself to the lions? CoolieBabii said she thought about cheating, that wasn't her forte, so she maintained. But see, it's how bad you want something. You didn't get there overnight, you're not gonna get out of there overnight, but how bad you want it, how determined you are. And so when you deal with any kind of partnership, any kind of relationship, any, whether it be intimate or platonic or even in business, you have to have an understanding of what it is that you want to get out of it, who it is that you want to let in there to help you get there, and what it is that you're willing to do for that. You see what I'm saying? And so, Michael Jordan got cut from basketball in high school, but look at him now. They say he's the greatest, one of the greatest players. Look at Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace. He would practice and practice and practice and practice because he wanted to be better, and so he did what he had to do to work on himself. before he even got in the game. So, if you want to be a good wife or you want to be a good husband, then you need to be that before you get married. You need to have that mindset. You need to say, okay, what is the obligation of me in this relationship? Can I fulfill that? Because if not, you're doing a disservice not only to the person, but you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure. And does the ends justify the means? Is the end result really worth it? If you really want something, if you're really trying to lose weight to get in a certain dress, you're going to skip meals. You're going to fast. You're going to do exercise. You're going to do what it takes to get where you want to go. Well, there's going to be times you got to swallow your pride. You got to shut up. I didn't say be quiet. I said shut up. Because sometimes we talk ourselves out of everything or into everything. Sometimes you just got to be quiet and be still. And because your mouth will get you in more trouble than anything else. We used to say, don't let your mouth write a check that you can't cash. And so, you got to watch out what comes out of your mouth because you're putting that out into the universe. And when you put that out into the universe, it's going to come back and you're going to see it again. And that's why now I'm so focused on positivity. I don't want nobody to tell me I can't do something. I want people to say you could do it. You may be struggling. You may have a little hard time with it, but I believe you can accomplish it because my mindset has to be, Ace Boogie in the building, my mindset has to be set to where I see it and then I speak it and then I call it into existence. If you want to be a millionaire, act like a millionaire. Don't act broke because you're going to be broke. Don't ever speak over your life in a negative format. You don't want people to put you down. Don't put yourself down. Don't make jokes about yourself because you're inviting. Again, we're not dealing with flesh. We're dealing with spiritual entities. And you're inviting them entities into that arena. And then you wonder why these things start manifesting. Well, you called it into fruition. So be careful. Be slow to speak. And I know that's biblical, but in anything, if you get upset about something, don't act in that anger. Don't act in that rage. Wait till you calm down and act out of logic, not out of emotion. Too many times we move on emotion. Oh, he get on my last nerve. He did this. Oh, wait, I show him. I'm going to show her. And you're upset. Then when you calm down, they say you bipolar because you come back saying, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, because you acted out of emotion. So the biggest thing is you got to control yourself and prepare yourself for what you're going into. And then look for the same qualities so that it can resonate with you. It's easier for two people that are pushing up the hill than one pushing and one pulling. I'm just talking. I'm just talking.
Well, you talking. You talking.
In everything that you do, uh-oh. Are we there?
We here.
We here.
Okay. I don't know what happened. But in everything that you do, count up the cost. Think about what it is that you have to do in order to reach that goal. And then sit down and say, are you willing to do it? And you got to take and have discipline. You got to have mental fortitude. And you got to be grounded in your dream or what it is that you want to accomplish. Now, we talked a lot. I thank all of you who jumped in and still jumping in. And I know that we're a little bit over time. So I'm not going to continue. Next week, we're going to come back and we're going to talk some more about being toxic because I think that this is something that really needs to be discussed. We're going to give you some signs of how to recognize toxic relationships and behaviors. We're going to give you some things. But for your homework, Pop's got homework for you. Like I said, take out a piece of paper, and on one side, I want you to put 10 things that you like about yourself and 10 things that you don't like about yourself. And then start increasing the things that you don't like, then don't do it. And once you get it out, you can cross that off. And then pretty soon, your list on the positive side is going to grow, because ultimately, to make an impact, you have to be rooted and grounded. You have to have you can't be wishy-washy. You know what I'm saying? You can't set one standard and okay, but this one time, because then you're going back and forth and you're double minded, and that's not good. If you really want to get to a goal, sit down, write up the cost, and then see. Okay, am I willing to do this? Am I really willing, to make these sacrifices? So we out of time. I know we had a lot of discussion. I appreciate everybody
Tia say
for tuning
you
in.
need a toxic series, Pops.
Yeah,
Tell him come with this some more.
we have to do a toxic series. But let me tell you, I got a lot of stuff coming up. I got some Christian rappers that are gonna be on here. I got some singers that are gonna be on here. And in May is a special month for me. Pop's gonna be turning 60 on May 30th,
Oh, we
and
about
I accept
to
all early
party.
gifts. Pops underscore gems. My cash app is. I'm just playing. But we got a lot of things coming up. We want to dive into. We want to stay right here in dealing with toxic. One more week. We're going to come back next week, and we want to dive into friendships a little bit more, and the people we keep, and then we're going to go into even toxic family members, and so
Oh,
we're
that
going
sound
to.
like a split into 2 weeks, Pops. You
Yeah,
talking
well,
about
we
we gonna get all that in next week.
we gonna do what we can do. We gonna make it do what it can do. If it takes another week, well then it takes another week. Because the thing that I'm trying to convey to people is this: you are somebody, and you deserve the best. And if you don't feel like you deserve the best for yourself, how can you expect for somebody else to want the best for you? How can you expect for somebody else to hold you in high esteem when you don't even hold yourself in high esteem? I'm not a doormat. I'm not going to allow you to walk over me. Okay? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let down my standards to please you. If you can't meet me where I'm at, well, then, hey, I love you, but from a distance, I got to let you go
Yeah, we
because
left
you're not
that in
conducive.
yesterday.
And, I'm not going to let you chip away at that. It's like you built a house and you're going to let somebody come and set it on fire. Why? You built that house.
Wow.
So you're going to blow out them matches. Don't give nobody the match to burn down your house that you built. And we do that for sake
We
of
do that a
just
lot.
wanting to be popular, just wanting to be liked. Listen, I don't care if nobody like me. I like myself. And as long as I like myself, I'm going to find people that resonate with me and like my attributes. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, far from it. But I like me. I like where I'm going and what I'm doing. And there's some things that I got to do to get better. And I'm going to pray, and I'm going to ask y'all to pray. And we're going to continue to climb up the highway. But by the same token, I'm not going to the left or the right. Pops has got to a point where, I can see it coming a mile down the street. No, this ain't going to work. Nice to meet you. Have a nice day. But you gain that over time. When you know yourself, you'll be able to measure it against that measuring stick and say, "Nah, that ain't gonna match up." All right, and you keep it moving. Too many of us want to stay stagnant and get in one place and then grow roots there, and then next thing you know, you stuck in the mud. That concludes our show for tonight. That'll be all that we have to say. I want to thank my guest, CoolieBabii. I want to thank Ipinkie, my newfound daughters. I want to thank each and every one of you that tuned into the show. I said it at the beginning of the show. I'm going to get with CTP. I'm going to get with Seasons, and we're going to create what we call Pops Gems Pin. And the same way you see those other pins, we're going to have Pops Gems in a pin, and I'm going to give away a bunch of them so you can put it on there. And let me say this. These conversations are really not for you. I'm really talking to myself. You just happen to be in the room hearing me think out loud. So don't think that I don't apply this to me. We love you. Tune in next week. If we didn't say something you like, tune in. We'll say something else. CoolieBabii, awesome singer. Coolie, tell them where they can find you.
You can go to my website, www.cb17visions with a Z at the end.com. All the music, all the movements that's happening with everything that I do, you will see it there on the website. So go check me out.
All right. Thank you for that. Ipinkie. Ipinkie.
Did you
Tell them
like
where they can find you.
Tingo? Oi. Oh yes. No. But no, you guys find me look on all these social media platforms. Ipinkie official. That's gonna be me. But thepinkworld.com, as I said earlier, that's where you find my products. You can see all my tanks too. You know what I'm
Spell it
saying?
out, Pinky. Spell
D
it out.
Ipindii. It start with a D. The letter D as in dog. Okay. DIPINKWORLD.com, you guys. Shop with your shorty. You know what I'm showing? Show me love, because I'm gonna show you love right back. So that's what that be doing? Okay,
All
that's
right.
my
So,
business.
again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in.
Yep.
There
Yellow
go my
Neek in
manager
the
right there.
audience. Yep. Yellow Neek, thank you so much for being in there. For those of you who joined, Miss Tay, shout out to my co-worker, Rennie the Menace. She's in the building. I'm going to have her come on the show one day. Pop's got a lot of things lined up. Um, do this for me. Love on one another. Tell one another you care about them. Hug on your loved ones. Spend time with them
Hug on yourself.
because tomorrow is not promised and you never know what can befall somebody. Again, shout out to all my sponsors, Exotic Pops. Lefty is in the building. We definitely want to support Exotic Pops. Seasons, if you're still in there, put in the chat where they can find you. He got a lot of apparel, very gifted young man. If you need a
My bro.
cut, he's the best barber
Woo!
in the world, hands down. And I'm not just saying that because see, my hair is tough to go. I got kind of crazy hair. It go all different kind of ways, but he keeps Pops looking good, and so I appreciate him for that. Um, again, Pops Gems. Now, let me say this: they put me in newfound job, came second in the class, and so they gave us a schedule, and I'm scheduled 10 to 7. However, if for whatever reason you don't see me on right at 8, know that I'm on the way. And if I see that it's going to be consistent, then I'll push the show back a little bit more because this is what God gave me to do, and so I must be obedient. But by the same token, I got to work, got to pay the bills, got to pay the light bills, and things of that nature. Even Paul said he was a tent maker. So if you see that the show is not right at 8, and I see it's going to be consistent, I'm gonna move it back a little bit. Again, I could talk all night, but I want to let y'all go. I want you to think about your relationships, platonic, in eros, your romantic relationships, filio, your brotherly relationships, and even your work relationship. And as a side note, as a big extra gem, don't curse your seed core. If you're not happy at your job, don't curse it because that's what's paying you your paycheck. Pray about it. If you don't feel led to stay there, then find something else. But don't curse your seed core because that's your resources. And you start saying you hate it, you hate it, you hate it. And then you wonder why they start cutting hours at work or why they start handing out pink slips. Well, you brought that on yourself. You just ask God or pray to whoever your higher source is, or you just start putting in applications somewhere else where you can be happy. But remember that you are there for a reason. And when you start looking at the reason that you're there and fulfill your purpose, it's going to make for a lot better. Enjoy life. Life is for the living. And we supposed to have it good on this side. This Pops from Pops Gems, this Pops perspective. We in the vault. Love y'all with the love of Christ. We'll see you next week. Until then, let me see if I can get a little music to go out here by. Let me see something. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I'm gonna lighten the load.
Light and low for
SB
us, Pops.
SB boys.
Candy.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. Swag Bandits. Till next week. Pops, love y'all.
SB boys.
Peace.